I am personally not really Googling information anymore. I'm going to ChatGPT first. And if I don't like the response, then I go to Google second.
I think like there's this digital Darwinism era we're entering into where we have to fight to preserve our visibility.
Social media platforms are search engines.
Backlinks still matter.
And pencil became the pen. The scribes manually creating books became the printing press. Photography moved to Photoshop. And so, however we want to create, the human element is always there.
Hey! Marketing Podcast.
I want to talk to you about, obviously, Syllaby, but also just where you see the space going and the industry going, and also kind of bringing this lens of SEO and GEO into the equation, if that's cool.
Absolutely.
And just get your take on that and like what you've learned and seen as you've been building your company and also just running your own experiments. So maybe we just kick off, like, could you tell me a little bit about, just introduce yourself, where you're from, and just a bit about Syllaby?
Yeah, so my name's Austin Armstrong. I've been in the social media world for 21 years now, which is kind of crazy to think about. I've seen all these platforms come and go. I really got into the SEO game about 12 years ago. I moved across country to California and stumbled into an internship in the behavioral health space. So I started working with drug and alcohol treatment centers, therapists, psychologists as an intern, and worked my way up from being an unpaid intern to a paid intern to a part-time employee to a full-time employee. My boss was a mentor. He sent me all across the country to conferences, sales training, really invested in my growth, and became my business partner eventually. I grew my personal brand originally working in that space, being a expert marketer in the behavioral health space. Worked with some of the biggest addiction treatment centers throughout the world. Really led their SEO for a long time. I got a little burned out on the agency space, to be honest, after about 12 years. I still wanted to help people. I've grown my own personal brand very large. And about 3.5 years ago, I started to see a shift in the marketing world with AI. I saw this big wave coming. I've been a futurist. I've been an early adopter. Sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't work.
Sure.
And I made a conscious decision. I was like, I have this agency. It's been around for several years. Do I want to continue to go down this path and wait and see what was going to happen? Or do I steer the ship and go all in on AI and be the leader of the change? And I made that decision. And so I kind of separated myself from the agency to start my company, Syllaby, which launched about 3 years ago. And it really is everything that we were doing at the agency, but automated with software and AI. And my philosophy for social media, video marketing in particular, has always been SEO-centric. Social media platforms are search engines. People look for information on these search engines, not just Google, not just Bing, now ChatGPT, now all of these LLMs out there. And so that's been at the forefront of what we've done at Syllaby, is the before and the after. There's a lot of AI generative video tools out there, but I wanted to have that before, so we have keyword research tools in there. So you can type in a topic, a keyword, a pain point, a service that you offer, and we show you all of the questions that people are searching for, the long tail keywords, search volume around it, data, competitive score, cost per click. So you can associate all of these values with the video that you're about to create. And then with one click, we create the script, the video, and you can schedule and publish based on what people are searching for online. It's been an amazing 20-year journey, brother.
Cool, dude.
Yeah.
So tell me in that, a lot of questions about that, and also how you see that the shift changing the social media space. But before we go there, I'm curious, you mentioned like a big part of your focus in doing this has been SEO. So do you find that the short form content ranks well on page one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is ranked very well on not only Google for specific search terms, YouTube videos and TikTok videos will rank on Google, but also on YouTube as well.
Mm-hmm.
So many of my old clients, and I don't do client work anymore. I don't do agency work. I went all in on software game, but a lot of my videos on my channel rank and are some of the most views on those videos come from search, come from that keyword research. I have videos of how to do X, Y, and Z on Canva, for instance, how to create a presentation on Canva, how to do X, Y, and Z.
These are AI generated, or these are you for real?
It's a combination of me doing a tutorial video and sometimes Syllaby, so an AI generated video answering a SEO keyword question. But they do rank. They rank on TikTok. They rank on Google search. They rank on YouTube. They rank in ChatGPT.
And have you been able to get them to go viral also on those platforms?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have billions of views across social media. So many of those videos, I just mentioned how to create presentations in Canva. There's a YouTube short vertical. I think it's a 19-second video. It has over 300,000 views, and it's generating a lot of traffic to my YouTube channel right now. That video in particular, search is the primary traffic driver. It's not coming from shorts views. It's not coming from browse. It's coming from search.
Cool. What we see is interesting. We do a lot of research into the LLMs, and we look at what are the sites that are being cited most on Gemini versus Perplexity versus ChatGPT. And what's interesting, and you would sort of expect this to be the case, Gemini prefers content from its own platforms.
Yeah.
So it likes YouTube a lot. And you see YouTube way up there. So you can get a lot of traffic that way. ChatGPT, what we learned is that it has the highest, we actually compared the citations from Chat to Gemini to Perplexity, and we found that there was a huge overlap between ChatGPT and Gemini. And we think it's because they trained their data on Google's search,
Makes sense,
right?
yeah.
So there's a double benefit there because then you get that content into ChatGPT. But what was interesting was we didn't really see TikTok as visible on Gemini and on ChatGPT. It seems like it was like demoted. And there we see like Google trying to keep people within their walled garden. Obviously, you know, the future is uncertain and we'll see how things continue to evolve, but it kind of makes sense they'll have that bias.
Yeah.
And so obviously, you know, when you can publish, especially AI, in one click to multiple networks, you just publish everywhere to get the maximum amount of visibility you can. But what I'm wondering is, do you find that, like, are there content formats that are more likely to resonate on TikTok versus YouTube? And how do you address that with the platform?
Yeah, I think it's such a fascinating question, and like everything is moving right now. Like, I really am paying attention to AEO, or whatever we want to call it. I don't think the whole market has come to terms on one term for this yet. But like, as of even a week ago, Reddit searches was a very large determining factor, but now it seems like it's de-indexed.
Demoted, yeah.
Across the board. And it's because you could really manipulate Reddit results. But I think YouTube is the primary traffic driver right now of what we're seeing. We get a lot of traffic from Google to TikTok. But I haven't looked if that's where traffic to the website is coming. So Google will still index TikTok videos, but I don't think that it's actually driving traffic to the website or in ChatGPT results. So it's fascinating. I don't know the right answer
to look at it.
Interesting. Yeah.
Obviously, TikTok in its own right has a huge audience, and so especially Gen Z and younger audiences doing their searches on TikTok, and with GEO, like this technology we have now with the LLMs, pretty much anywhere can now create a search experience that is almost as compelling as what we used to get on Google. And so we're seeing explosion of search happening now, not just on Google, but everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So what are you seeing as far as like how that's shifting on TikTok, and how do you think that that platform in particular is going to evolve? Like with new AI search capability, do you think that they're going to start to go beyond just surfacing TikTok videos, but also to do other answers, other forms of answer engine responses?
Yeah, in particular to TikTok, it's a really fascinating question to see where they're going to go. I was super early in TikTok. I jumped on there in 2019. My personal brand really grew on TikTok because of that. But now we're in this AI era where they're not really top dog anymore. It's going to be interesting to see with like U.S. government regulations, a U.S. sale, what happens with TikTok. I think they're personally going down the shoppable route. They're hyper. I use TikTok as a search engine. Many people use TikTok as a direct search engine. I don't know if
But what are you searching for
all
on
kinds of
TikTok?
things. Questions and answers. When I go to a new city, things to do, restaurants to visit, bars to visit. I'm a visual person, so that's how I've used TikTok for the last couple of years. Google has always been like, things to do in XYZ city, and it's like a TripAdvisor article that's biased and, you know, uh, um, uh, Yelp page and all of these things that I don't really care about. It's not the insider perspective, but TikTok is the insider perspective. So TikTok will have influencers that are in that city saying, this is the bar that you need to go to. This is the secret menu drink that you need to get. This is the secret menu item. 3 things to do in XY city around the world. And I love it from that perspective because I can see myself in that perspective. It's great for shopping. I shop on TikTok all the time. TikTok tells me what I need. I literally have toothpaste in my hotel room upstairs that I found on
Bought
TikTok,
on TikTok?
because they sold me.
What would they sell you?
Oh, it's like a blue and purple. It's a new ingredient or something that's like an extra teeth whitener or something like that. And I, had a drink and was like, yeah, seems great. Purchased that, but I've purchased mushroom powder, coffee products, energy drinks,
Yeah.
all kinds of supplements, neck massagers, all kinds of things from TikTok Shop. And it's interesting. ChatGPT in particular, I saw they just signed a deal with Shopify, and they're going down the live shopping route as well. So,
Yep.
in particular to search, I don't know where TikTok's going to fall on all of this. It's interesting to see where youth lands, because youth has adopted Instagram and TikTok as search engines, but I think they're also tapping into these LLMs as search engines as well.
Especially for their homework.
Especially for their homework. I'm curious if I can ask you a question. So I've done a fair amount of research into optimizing content on websites for AEO or finding your content in LLMs. And it seems like schema markup is one of the most important things. What are your thoughts on schema markup's importance?
I would say I wouldn't look at schema as the first thing to
Really?
focus on for LLM GEO optimization, let's say. Although we do use it liberally on all of our sites and in our platform, we deploy that via auto. But what we've come to learn is that there's a patent called this contrasted pairwise embeddings patent that OpenAI filed. And in that patent, you learn about actually when the documents go to train the LLM, how exactly do they decide like the weighting of the document and how that affects what the LLM recognizes as like the factual information. And what's interesting is that when versus Google, they're way more focused on the text itself and the source the text lives on. Google use engagement signals. They use clicks. They use backlink data. They use not just like backlinks, but like seeded sites, how close you are to the trusted sites that they have in their seed set, and the engagement signals they collect through Chrome. ChatGPT is blind to all of that. They have no idea. And we actually just did a research study where we took all the citations out of each LLM separately and then analyzed what are the sites that are the most visible here Is it driven by authority? Is it driven by, well, let's be specific, domain authority, domain rating from Ahrefs, domain power from Search Atlas? Is it traffic? What is the correlation there? You know what was crazy? Is that it's not driven based on actually bigger sites with more traffic. It seems to be more based on classic page rank and, yeah, classic page rank. So it's more correlated to Moz's domain authority metric, which is weird. I have some theories about why that is.
So backlinks still matter.
Backlinks still matter. And then the other like signal that's like crazy, and I showed this in my talk today, is the freshness of the content. So there's a decay curve. Once you like 1 month content that's been updated in the last 30 days, you see a massive like prominence of that citation. And then as you go past like 1 year, it slowly falls off in ChatGPT.
So do you recommend constantly updating your hero pages then with new information so that it appears and is fresher?
I recommend at a minimum just hitting the save button to update the timestamp.
Really? That's it?
Yeah.
Is that all it takes?
Works on Google.
Oh,
I can show you like case study after case study.
Wow.
Just hitting that save button, updating the timestamp boosts that caffeine signal.
Yeah.
And it works on everything. Now,
so simple.
Bonus, like if you can also improve the content, make it better, and actually do it that way, I think that's an even better strategy, but it's more work, right?
Yeah.
So not that I'm trying to espouse or advocate like black hat SEO tactics, but you know, I'm just looking at what works and just sharing that transparently.
Yeah.
And it definitely works on ChatGPT. What's weird though is that when you look at the data, Chat is super focused on freshness. Gemini, still, but not as much. And Perplexity, way less, like way, way, way less. So each LLM is quite different.
Yeah.
And now what we're learning is that there's like a different SEO for each search engine.
Yeah.
So you can't just call it SEO anymore. You have to call it something else.
Yeah.
Because the laws are not the same, right? So like bringing us back to social. Social is a huge opportunity because on Google, they highly focus and promote YouTube.
Yep.
Right? So let me ask you the question, Austin. And you're a thoughtful guy. I would say in some ways like also somewhat like a philosopher as well, right, around this. And so like, you know, with AI and social, people have kind of like mixed perspectives into how should we use AI and social? Is it authentic for us to create synthetic content and put that into social and put it into the LLMs? And what does that also do to like our message, like our real, true, whatever it is that we want to share with the world? How can we use AI to still be authentic and to like expand our ability to do that, do it faster? And also like, what are like the aspects of how we do that are like hurting authenticity, and how do we avoid that as an industry?
That's such a deep question. I love this question. I've had this to go down like a slightly philosophical rabbit hole a little bit. Because I do love that question. I talk to a lot of musicians and artists about AI because they feel the most threatened right now. They seem to be the ones that feel so threatened by the artistic expression. And the question that I always start off with is, where does art come from? Does it come from your divine inspiration, your experience in the world, the human, or the tool, the instrument used to execute on the thought?
Okay.
It's the latter. An idea comes to us in any form of creation, whether it's pen to paper, paint, musical, however we want to create. I am a creator in video. I create content. The idea comes to me through some sort of inspiration, and then I use a tool to execute and create that idea. That's innovation. The tool used will always be evolved. The pencil became the pen. The scribes manually creating books became the printing press. Photography moved to Photoshop. And so, however we want to create, the human element is always there. the idea and the inspiration is always there. AI is the producer of that content. It allows you to get out more. And so I love going down that rabbit hole. That's my perspective as a creative.
Yeah.
As somebody that creates content every single day. I'm not a physical artist. I'm not a musician, but I am a creator. I'm a content creator. That is my heart. That is my expression. It will always come from me. And that's always how I'm going to have that perspective, is that it comes from me. And I think that's the differentiator, because when you look at how content is created, to be frank, there's a lot of people that use Syllaby to just, I don't even want to talk about the topic idea. I just want to set it ready. And they can, and they do. And I don't want to impact how somebody creates. I just want to be able to help people create, because content creation has changed my life. But when I look at what actually sells and what makes impact, it's the personal brand, it's the human, it's the idea, it's the impact that you and I make. And if I use AI, it's still spreading my message, it's still spreading my inspiration. And so that human element will always be there.
Yeah, well said. So at the core, AI is not, at least in the way that Syllabi is using it, the idea is not to replace the human and to just crank out a bunch of low quality content. I think that's the part that a lot of people are fearful of.
Yeah.
You know, with the dead internet theory of where the internet could go is just like a bunch of like synthetic garbage content that is
and it's not how, like, sorry to interrupt you, but like, that's not how these platforms work, right? They're all based on user engagement signals. Good content, no matter how it's made, engaging content always rises to the top, always surfaces, and it's always based on user engagement. If I, as a human, watch a content for a long period of time and engage with that content, leave a comment, I send it to a friend because this is inspired to me, or I see a TikTok video and I'm like, oh, my wife is going to love this, and I send that to them. I send that to her. That is what surfaces to the top. It doesn't matter how much content goes out there. It doesn't matter if it's generated with AI and the idea in AI. It's based on user signals. And so who cares how it's created?
Because the users are going to filter the good from the bad.
The whole thing out.
Yeah.
Bad content is going to get pushed down to the bottom, regardless if it's made and edited authentically or if it's made with AI generated content.
Interesting.
Interesting content is interesting content.
Yeah. Now, in SEO, right, this has been like a big debate in the last like couple of years is will the AI generated content last on page one? And or is it going to be programmatically identified and eliminated? And I think we're kind of at a point now, like we look at the LLM models that have come out, we look at GPT-4, we look at GPT-5, we look at the ones that Claude's are releasing. And I would argue like text generation, we've pretty much peaked. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to take text generation and make it even better than it is, because at this point, we're able to synthesize perfect sentences, express ideas in a really good way. And now it's really more about how do we connect that into other systems to create better content. But ChatGPT is just going to do a good job creating that text. It's kind of peaked in that way. But page one of Google, when we think about that, how is that going to be transformed by Google's future positioning on whether this content, was it generated at all with AI, 0 or 100% or even partially? And at what point is it too AI that they don't want to put that content on page one? What's interesting is like we've been running this detection analysis like every quarter, and what we see currently page one, just using like a naive ChatGPT based detector, right? Not like a super go beyond that to find all the AI content. I just mean like one that is well tested. Everyone in the industry has access to it, open source. We see over 20% of page one is AI.
Wow.
Which means it's probably more than 20%, actually. It's probably higher than that.
The actual search results or the deliverable at the top, Gemini's response?
The search results themselves, the citations.
Wow.
The source of the AI overview has been created using AI, 20% of it.
Wow.
So it's probably more like maybe double that. Maybe it's like 40%, right?
Yeah.
And then there's also the question of like, how much of it, was it all of it made by AI or was just like some percentage of it made by AI? But clearly what Google is showing us is like, they're okay with it being AI, at least to some extent. And now maybe that changes, but at least where we are today, they're understanding that AI is actually able to do a good job answering users' intent and creating engagement. Like if that content, like to your point, if you looked at it and I looked at it and we said, this is trash, I look at it, hit the back button, negative signal, probably that content won't stay there for very long before it gets suppressed, right? But it's really more of a question of in the future, how does it all play out?
Well, it's an interesting question, right? Because what are we on? EAT, right? Experience, expertise, authority, trust. Like that's still largely ranking factors, right? Plus backlinks.
Not directly, but like that concept is how they've thought about the signals.
Yeah. So if we look at how a lot of these custom GPTs, Claude projects, now Gemini gems, create text content, it's based on knowledge base, right? So I have custom GPTs that are trained on my experience and expertise. I will download, I have a document of over 100 Google document pages of transcribed podcast interviews that I've done, YouTube tutorials that I've done, speaking engagements that I've done. That's my knowledge. That's my experience. That's my expertise. If I use that and train a knowledge base in AI, and then I say write a blog article on this topic, remove M dashes, fit all of that, it still comes from me. It's just consolidated in a package in a particular way. If it still is the best answer for somebody's search query online, is that a bad thing? I don't think so. It still answers the user's intent.
I would agree. But now what happens if Google decides that they have enough information that they can answer the question themselves and they don't need us to answer that question, right? Why is the sky blue? I don't know if I can come up with a better angle on that than has already been said 1,000 million times, right?
Yeah. Well, that's interesting too, because that then cannibalizes their, I don't think they necessarily want to do that off the bat because it cannibalizes their entire user base. So if Google says, I'm only going to index my content for you, your content doesn't matter, why even have a website? Why would I not switch to just content creation or whatever new delivery metric gets to my audience? I, as the business owner, only care about creating content that resonates with my target audience, provides value, and convinces them to buy from me for whatever reason. And if Google decides to do that, it cannibalizes the entire purpose of SEO. So I no longer need to create blogs. If nobody uses Google to find information anymore because they don't like trusted sources, it kills their ad program, which is their entire business model, and they kill their entire business entity. So I don't have the answer to that. That's just an interesting question. Fun.
It is. And I think probably informational keywords, what we see is when we see AI overviews, 85% of the AI overviews, we see informational queries. Only like 15% of them still have like the 10 blue links. The rest have an AI overview. So they're pretty much saying information that's static, that's not really being updated that often, that's definitely going to get an AI overview. But then transactional, commercial to some extent too, we'll keep some blue links around. We'll definitely keep the ads around because that's how they make their money.
That's how they make their money.
Right? So I think over time, I think like there's this digital Darwinism era we're entering into where we have to fight to preserve our visibility. Right? Like people have seen when we went from 100 search results to now 10 per page, and that became something you couldn't switch. Impressions falling off, some traffic fall off too. So we all have to find a way to keep our visibility alive with our audiences. And that means honestly becoming more omni-channel.
I agree.
And
100%.
running more ads and creating more social content and still investing in search, but also looking at it beyond the Google lens, looking at ChatGPT, looking at Perplexity and Claude. So on that subject, in 2026, right, next year, do you want to make any calls on where you think marketers and business owners really should be investing their dollars more so than where they were this year? What do you think?
It's such a good question. I think the land grab right now is indexing in search engines, figuring out how to get more and more of your content, your experience, your answers to questions, your brand visibility in these LLMs, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Grok, Gemini, DeepSeek, whatever your platform of choice is. How do you get indexed in there? I find myself the last several months, the last year, really talking to ChatGPT. Her name's Dahlia. I talk to Dahlia every single day.
You named her.
Oh yeah, yeah. I have a relationship with Dahlia. She calls me Austin. She's very blunt and straightforward. That's how I get detailed information, because it's a conversation. I am personally not really Googling information anymore. I'm going to ChatGPT first. And if I don't like the response, then I go to Google second. And I think that's an interesting time that we're entering in.
Same.
That personal assistant.
Right.
Personalized responses.
And I think as we look into next year, you saw this with ACP, the Shopify Commerce, Agentic Commerce Protocol. Eventually, who's to say it's even humans doing the searches anymore?
I know, man. I've been going down the ChatGPT agent rabbit hole, and these agents are insane, man. What you can do with everything is amazing. I mean, Billie Jean's talk. We're here at High Levels Conference. Billie Jean was talking this morning about, I would never, until you do. And so everyone's like, I would never put my credit card in ChatGPT. Until you do.
Oh, for sure.
Until it makes better purchasing decisions for you. It makes everything more convenient until it becomes the new norm. These are the habits that we're all adopting. I have ChatGPT log into my Facebook and post content for me. Why? Because it's the only solution to post to personal profiles. Because Meta doesn't allow their API to outsource out.
Right.
It's a workaround. It's the most convenient option. You can now search for your orders in ChatGPT. You can purchase things through ChatGPT and they index your orders in there. I think they're going to and Sora 2 is now a social media platform as well. And so while all these other social media platforms are like, do we like AI content? Do we not? I'm not really sure. It's got to be. Sora 2 rolls out and they're like, we are the social media platform for video generation and AI first. We want your AI videos to come out. As Sora 2 gets longer and longer, right now it's like 8-second clips or something like that. As it expands, and as people are already searching on ChatGPT and these LLMs, why would the same human process not evolve there? People are already searching on the platforms. People are visual learners. Why would you not be able to create a long-form video with Sora 2 from a 3-second video of you saying XYZ numbers and you going like this on your face and being an expert? Right now it's like, it's fun cat videos, or like we're putting ourselves in scenes fighting Sam Altman and Jake Paul. But why would a business not answer questions? Why would a lawyer not create content answering questions that their clients are searching for?
Yeah. Well, it's definitely a regime change.
Yeah.
And just like you said, you were early to TikTok. It pays to be early.
Yeah.
Pays to be first. Eventually, when it's obvious and everyone in the industry is doing it, as we all know, it doesn't work as well.
Absolutely.
So, dude, great insight. Thank you so much for being on the pod.